Welcome back to our presentation on nutrition for synchronized skating. This is part 4 of the video.
So something that's always going to be really helpful is looking at what a pre and post-workout meal should look like. And so, as you've probably already guessed, it should contain a good amount of protein and carbohydrate. So what does that look like in a meal? So if we take breakfast as an example, or even afternoon tea before an afternoon training session, if you prefer something that's a little bit sweeter, you might have a bowl of oats with some banana, cinnamon, maybe a little bit of honey if you've got a really intense or a really long training session ahead of you, and then using some milk, maybe a little bit of yogurt, to add that bit of protein to the meal. Otherwise, you could do something more like a granola bowl or a muesli bowl, trying to choose a granola or muesli that doesn't have any added sugar or only minimal amounts of added sugar, and then topping that with some yogurt and some fresh fruit to add the protein and a little bit of extra carbohydrate, as well as some of those micronutrients that we were talking about earlier. If you prefer more of a savory breakfast or a savory pre-training snack, something like 2 slices of toast with 2 eggs, maybe a glass of milk on the side, and some sauteed spinach or sauteed mushrooms or grilled tomatoes added in there as well, again for those micronutrients and fiber. Something like that will give you a good balance of your protein, carbohydrate, and then the micronutrient rich portion of the meal as well. One of the most common complaints that I always hear is that an athlete won't have time to prepare a meal, or they won't have time to sit and eat a meal. And it doesn't mean that you should completely skip the meal or grab something quick and easy on the way, like McDonald's or a bag of chips or some ice cream. It's really easy with a bit of thought to have something that is quick to consume but also quick to prepare, and that can be made ahead of time. So this is probably one of my favorite pre-workout smoothies or even post-workout smoothies, and it's just a banana smoothie with a tiny little bit of peanut butter. So I would use a cup of milk, a quarter of a cup of rolled oats for some carbohydrate, again some carbohydrate coming from the banana and honey, tiny little bit of peanut butter for flavor, and then a pinch of cinnamon as well to give it some more flavor. Even simpler than that, if you really don't want to prepare anything, you could look at grabbing a tub of high protein yogurt. So here in Australia we have YoPro or Chobani, or any of the Icelandic style yogurts that are quite high in protein, and then have that with a piece of fruit, and you've got very basic protein and carbohydrate. Another question that I quite often get is, what should I eat before a competition? And so the rules before a competition don't change from what you should be eating pre and post workout. So protein, carbohydrate, and fluid to make sure that you're not becoming dehydrated. Again, don't have anything that's too high in fat and going to slow down your digestion, because a lot of the time you can get quite nervous, and so it's best to always stick with what you know. So if you would normally have something like a piece of fruit, some muesli and yogurt before a training session, stick with that before your competition as well, because when you get nervous, it changes the way that you digest foods, and it can actually make it harder for your body to digest food. So you want to make sure that you're sticking with meals that you know work with your body, with the added stress of being nervous. You want to make sure that you know what you're consuming is going to work for you. Trying new meals or food combinations probably isn't the best to do before a competition. It would be okay to try something new before a training session, but before a competition, just stick with whatever you know works for you. And if you prefer to eat a lighter meal on the day, so again, if you find that you get quite nervous or quite stressed and you don't feel like you can actually eat, make sure you fuel up the day before. So let's say you're competing on a Saturday. On the Friday from mid-afternoon to just before bed, you want to make sure that you're consuming lots of protein, lots of carbohydrate, and drinking lots of fluids so that the body is primed beforehand with all the nutrients that you would need to perform at your best the following day. You'd still want to have at least something small before your competition, but if you don't want to eat something too big, just make sure you're doing it the night before as well. Okay, so I hope you found all of that information really useful. And if you do have any questions about anything that I went through, or if you have particular questions related to yourself, so if you're maybe allergic to a certain food, or you're vegan or vegetarian, or you have special dietary requirements and have questions about how we can alter some of the information according to your needs, please feel free to contact me on either of my emails. So Stephanie Dietitian, and that's spelled DIETITIAN @gmail.com, or Stephanie at theathleteskitchen.com.au, or you can send me a quick message and just let me know who you are so I know who's messaging. But my phone number is 0468 842 812, and that's an Australian mobile number. Or you can find me personally on Instagram at the Powerlifting Dietitian, or the Athlete's Kitchen at the Athlete's Kitchen. So any questions at all that you might have, whether it's really basic or really complex, I'm happy to answer over the next few days. So thank you all for your time.
Now for a quick break in our presentation to tell you a little bit about OneTeamMVMT. OneTeamMVMT is a not-for-profit organization that is working to unite and empower the synchronized skating community in order to grow the sport worldwide. Our pillars are unite, develop, promote, and support. We unite the community and encourage sportsmanship and collaboration. We create opportunities such as camps and shareable online content to help develop the sport at the grassroots level. We work to promote awareness of the sport, and we support the community with grants and giveaways. We hope you're enjoying this presentation and will consider checking out OneTeamMVMT on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter once the presentation is finished.